Born in Zimbabwe, raised in Ibadan, Nigeria, and schooled in South Africa, Nollywood actress Atlanta Bridget Johnson has a spotlight on her today. We talk about her acting career, her personal life, and how she's been able to portray each character realistically, from her role in Man of God, Afamefuna, and her recent collaboration with American actor Idris Elba in Dust to Dreams. Do enjoy.
Hi, my name is Atlanta Bridget Johnson. I am an actor and I am super excited to be here on Spotlight segment Entertainment News on Channels TV. Growing up as a kid, I was always a part of drama productions in school. As I got older in high school, I took drama as a subject from grade 8 to grade 12 in South Africa. And then, after that, I trained at the Film Acting Academy in Cape Town for about 3 years. And then not long after that, I came back home.
Give us a little background story about your acting career. When did you start acting and when did you know that, okay, this is what I want to do?
I think it had always been, apart from sports and art, it had always been the one thing for me where I felt like I could completely be myself. And because there were no limitations, no restrictions, you're playing a character, so it just, for me, it's been a way for me to express myself and to just be whoever I want to be.
When I Googled you, I got a lot of information about where you're from, and it seems like you have different origins. You were born in Zimbabwe, you grew up in Ibadan, and you schooled in South Africa, but you never said anything about your nationality. So where exactly are you from? And would you say that your multiple roots, so to say, has any impact or has affected your career in any way?
So nationality, I am Nigerian, full stop. My father was half Nigerian, half English, and my mom is from Zimbabwe. Now, my brothers and I, we were born in Zimbabwe, in Harare, and we grew up in Ibadan, and then we went to boarding school in South Africa. So I have no family ties to South Africa. It's purely been Nigeria and England, and from my mom's side, Zimbabwe. So yeah.
Let us talk about when you actually got in here in the film industry space in Nigeria. What was your first project and what was the experience like?
So I came back during lockdown, and when everything started opening up again a year later, my first project was Man of God, directed by BAP, Bolani Austin Pieces. And that was huge. That was huge for me as well, coming into an industry as a new face and a new actor. And then, you get cast in a big film that ended up on Netflix.
Ever since Man of God, you've been in a couple of other films, Afamefuna, the one with Idris Elba that is yet to be released, and the one you spoke about earlier before we started this interview, and a couple of other movies, I'm sure. So what's your favorite character till date?
So I just got off a set recently, and we were shooting in Asaba. But now this film is the first film in all the projects that I've done thus far that I was purely the lead character. I'd say that was my favorite because I basically was leading the film.
Let's talk about Afamefuna. What was the experience like on set with your co-stars, Staninze and Alex? Of course, I would also like to know what you thought of the story when you found out that it was an Igbo speaking film.
They sent the script. I read it. I loved the story. And then got to set, met him for the first time, met Stan, Nze, Alex Ekubo, Kanayo, Shagun Arinze. And initially, when I read the script, it was all in English. And then I realized that everybody was more or less speaking Igbo on set. And then there was a dialect coach that was there as well. So they then said that I would have to, say a couple of things. So I was completely taken off guard. I was thrown off guard because I was not prepared. But I think what I liked about that was that it kept me it was the only time I felt a bit anxious on set, because I knew, okay, if I'm saying this, I need to get it right. I need to know what I'm saying, why I'm saying what I'm saying, and I need to understand what my co-star is saying to me if he's speaking in Igbo.
So, I mean, I was surprised when I asked what your favorite character was, and you mentioned something different from Dust to Dreams, because I would think that you would say that your favorite experience would be the film that is yet to come out, your film with Idris Elba. Yes. So tell us about that experience and how was it working with him on set?
So when I got to the set of Dust to Dreams, which is produced by M.A. Moabudu and directed by Idris Elba, when we first all met him, I think I wasn't really sure, because we had already had like Zoom calls and stuff. So I got a bit of a sense of what he was like. And then when we actually met in person, he was just really laid back, really cool, down to earth. So there wasn't that whole thing of being like starstruck. But of course there was the excitement of, you know, being a part of this film that he's directing.
So let's talk about your fashion. And I'm sure since when you got into the industry, you must have noticed that when it comes to fashion, you know, Nollywood is top notch, because every red carpet, the AMVCAs and the AMAs, celebrities always come prepared. And you were at the AMVCAs this year. So how would you say your approach is to fashion?
So the first year, it was quite overwhelming. But I went alongside one of my friends. He's also an actor, Deza, the Great. So I had company at least that day. And at first, before I even got my dress made and whatnot, when everyone was like, "Oh, you're going to the NBC? Oh, it's a huge, kind of like the Met Gala," and I was like, "Okay." But then when I got there, I realized what they were talking about, because there were some outfits that were just over the top, and I was like, "Wow!" Like everyone goes all out at this event. But what I noticed this year was I didn't see anything that was as like crazy or out of the ordinary as it was the last time.
Still talking about imagery and Nollywood, do you feel pressured in any way to keep up with a certain image as an actor?
To be honest, not at all. I think, yeah, if there is a specific event, I will go out of my way to look good and to dress up. But on a daily basis, I'm very, very like chilled. And in terms of my fashion sense, I'm very laid back, and comfort for me is most important.
Okay, so you said you spent 10 years in South Africa and you explored the film industry as well as an actor over there. Let's talk about the welfare situation in South Africa for actors and Nigerian actors as well. Based on your experience in both places and industries, what would you say is the nature of the welfare system for actors?
I think, okay, so from my experience, coming in, I didn't know how it worked, right? And what I've begun to, realize and understand is that a lot of times there's a lot of priority on budget, right? For any production. So certain things have to be negotiated between the producers and the actors. And I hadn't experienced that before, because from whatever I did there, it was always like, this is how much we're paying you for this, take it or leave it, right? So it's been interesting, like, to have had to have done that. But it's also, I understand why it happens, because, you know, some of the productions that we have, it's not a high budget film. So you have to say, okay, listen, this is how much we can afford, and this is what we're willing to pay you. And, you know, because we can't afford more. So yeah, it's been interesting to see that on certain sets. But there have been other sets where it's been fixed, like, okay, this is what we're offering.
Thank you so much for talking to us. It's been such a refreshing conversation we've had here. And I'm looking forward to all your forthcoming projects. And I can't wait for the movies you said are coming out, The Sound Mind and the one with Idris Elba. Yes. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Atlanta. It's been such a great time.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's really been lovely being here today. So yeah, thanks.